Got into alcohol, I got into drugs. I hated life. There was no hope. I didn't see myself becoming anything. You even have the thoughts of taking your life, but I didn't have courage for that.
The founder of K1 Recycling, Tshepo Mazibuko.
Tshepo Mazibuko started the business.
You're now tuned in live to LWC Radio.
Awesome. Hey, let's go. Welcome to LWC Radio. We've got an exciting episode lined up. Welcome, Mac, to another show.
Thank you, Newton. Welcome.
We've got an exciting guest. Welcome, Tshepo Mazibuko. So awesome to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe some people don't know much about you, but they're going to find out
Definitely
a lot more about you today. And I'm really excited. I've heard a bit of the story, and it's so encouraging. And you guys are going to want to stay tuned and listen to the story. But let's get into it. Tshepo, K1 is your business. It's your business?
That's my business.
Okay, and is it K1? What is the actual name of your business?
Those who know, K1 is short for Katlehong, the township, because that's where I was born.
Wow.
And that's where I grew up.
Sure.
So I'm carrying the flag to say. And the funny part is that K1 stands for, actually in English, it's a place of success.
Okay.
Katlehong is a place of success.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken. But when I grew up, there was no success. So that's the war that I'm fighting, that we have to match our name. If it's K1, then we have to see that success.
Wow. If you don't know, we're sitting here in Alberton, and Katlehong is just there.
On the other
just
side,
there.
yes.
So we close to it, which is awesome, eh? And so, K1 is... tell us about K1. I know it's done extremely well. It's got over 1,000 waste pickers that we
work with.
You work with. Tell us more about that, about your business, K1.
Yeah. Well, K1, as I said, it's a waste management business.
Yes.
We basically do recycling on plastic. So we have a buyback center. So that's where now your waste pickers, they are called waste pickers, the people that you see with trolleys that go to your garbage bins and collect what people call rubbish.
Okay.
But to us, that's a resource. It's not a rubbish,
Yes.
And then we currently have just started a foundation. Yeah, but it is a business that I started as a waste picker myself. So after struggling for about 4 years, not being able to find employment, and I then was fortunate enough, even though it didn't come as something fortunate, but to know that there's something into the waste, and it really blew me away, because the townships are very filled even today.
Yeah,
we're struggling with dealing with waste. But when I learned that you could actually make a living from waste, for me, I didn't understand, and that's what got me curious to say, I want to know what's happening here.
In terms of, let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I want to go back to now where you are currently with K1.
Yes.
So K1 is this, it's how long has it been going for?
This coming Thursday on the 17th, because I started being a waste picker in 2009.
2009? So the
but
business
it was formally registered in 2011.
2011?
On the 17th of March.
So it's 11 years?
So it's 11 years. It's
10 years? Or
we're going to 11. I think it's 11.
11 years?
Yeah, 11 years.
And
anniversary.
branches? Wow. How many branches do you have?
Well, we're still in Katlehong.
Okay.
We had our manufacturing plant in Wadeville, but due to COVID, we had to shut it down and move. But we've got partners that we just because of COVID, we had to re-strategize and see who we can collaborate with. So one of the branches that we have is in Mansfield, next to Soweto. That's where now we continue with the processing of plastics. Yeah.
And how many employees do you have?
Well, COVID will always come up, right?
Yes.
So we had 21 employees before COVID hit us.
Okay.
But now, we left with 11.
Wow.
But we're working on it. We're getting back.
So and in terms of the waste pickers, you're actually helping them. So they pretty much, you're looking after almost 1,000 waste pickers.
Look, that's an economy that I feel like we are carrying on our shoulders in the township, right?
Yeah.
Because remember, these waste pickers, for them, it's a way of living. It's how they try to survive.
Yeah.
So when K1 is not operating, it means that over 1,000 people are now have to struggle, because there's a lot of challenges in recycling.
Yeah.
You need transport, you need, there's a whole lot. They need trolleys. I mean, I remember when I started, we used to travel from Katlehong to Al Road to go sell. So today you've got old people who can't travel that long. You've got a lot of people that don't have transport to go and sell. So by us being in the township, it actually makes a difference for them because we also go to their houses.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, the people watching, they just see the waste pickers.
Yeah.
The process this business that you've got is explain a little bit more how it actually, the basic of how it actually runs and what you actually do. So from getting the recycled waste to what happens? What do you do with it?
Well, recycling, funny enough, when we started, because I think a lot of people today, they see there's something that is dirty, is for dirty people, but little do we know that it's all about packaging, because this is post-consumer products that after you've drank your water, you throw the bottle away, but without that bottle, you couldn't get this water packaged. So basically, the person that you're seeing on the street going to your garbage bin, he's playing a very big role in terms of saving the environment, because if he doesn't pick up that, it means it goes to the soil and to the rivers, to the oceans. But when he does that, and then it means the big companies, your processors, they actually get that and recycle the bottle for you to get it on your shelf when next time you go to buy that cool drink. So that's how the cycle.
So you basically take a bottle, put it in a machine, crushes it, and then does it like form plastic, or what is the final product that you're producing? And
that's recycling, because many people when they talk about recycling, they actually get it twisted. But what the waste pickers do, they just collecting. So what you've just mentioned is recycling, where you take now the material, whether it be a bottle or paper, you put it into a machine, it gets crushed, it gets washed because you have to remove the soil and all that, and then it gets melted. Which is called extrusion. So extrusion now melts the plastic, and then we at K1 currently we produce what is called plastic pellets. So pellets are small plastic, pieces,
little granules,
that have been refined through fire, and then we sell that to the molders or the manufacturers.
Wow, so you're actually supplying it?
Yeah, we supply that currently.
And you supply it back into South Africa, or do you supply?
Currently we are. Well, we have talks now with Canada, and we had we had some material that we sold to Zimbabwe, but most of our clients are here in South Africa.
Sure. Yeah. And so I don't know if you know the fact, but waste pickers actually provide quite a bit of help towards the municipality. I don't know if you know the exact figure, but it's almost like a 700 million, I read it. 700 million rand industry that they're actually saving the municipality because of picking up the waste.
Exactly.
Is it higher? Do you know the actual figures or not really?
Well, there's quite a lot of research out there from different institutions like your CSIR and your universities, UJ, I know does research, and there's quite a lot. But it's true because we've got what we call the National Environmental Management Act, which deals with how waste actually has to be treated and dealt with. And one thing that they discovered in that research is the impact that the waste pickers have on the municipal budget that it saves. Because remember, these trucks, they call them compactor trucks that come to our houses to collect the waste or our municipal waste. That's how we call it. They get full quickly if recycling is not done. So they have to do a lot of trips, coming back. Instead of maybe here in Albertine doing one maybe round of collection, you might find that they have to do 3. Now, in terms of diesel, wear and tear, and the time, it's expensive. But because of recycling, you find that now it cuts the trips that truck has to do. And secondly, it's on your landfill side. Because remember, a landfill site has got a lifespan. Where most of our landfill site have got less than 5 years left. And as we know, government says they don't have land. Wow. It's not an issue of land. It's very expensive to start a landfill site, So through recycling, you now have increased the lifespan of that landfill site because you get less and less of recyclable material going to the landfill site, and then it extends the years of that landfill site. So that's the role that waste pickers are playing in the economy. So a lot of people don't know about that. But in terms of numbers, you are correct. I know it's a couple of millions. I don't have the exact number. that they save.
So, Tshepo, with that, because you mentioned the waste pickers are saving the government a lot of money, do they get compensated by the government or by you guys? Or does the government compensate you guys and then you compensate them?
No, thanks for that question, because I think earlier on I said we are carrying an economy on our shoulders.
Yes.
According to the Act, the Municipal Act, I don't know what they call it, but that deals with waste. The waste pickers were supposed to be compensated, but for obvious reasons that we know in the country, it's only us who now are carrying the burden of
So it's
having
more
to,
the private institutions that
are doing it.
But by law, because I know I've been to Italy, for example, where we met with our Brazilian counterparts. In Brazil, a waste picker has got a permanent salary.
Oh.
Yeah, for picking up waste.
So it's an actual job.
Yeah, it's an actual job, where you employ yourself and you register with government, and government will pay you for that.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's something that we still also
Trying to
fighting for
look
here.
at.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got this successful business, K1,
Yeah.
and but it doesn't start there.
Yeah.
It starts. I want to know where did this where did this start? Tshepo, a business doesn't always start at the top. It has a story,
Yeah.
and I want to know more about that, because you yourself were a waste picker.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I always, whenever I give talks, people want to know, how did you make it? How did this success come about? But I always say, people look at K1, but I am the real business. I am my business.
Yes.
The K1 is the
name.
It's the results of,
Okay.
of actually what Tshepo has become. But as you're correctly saying, that most of the people know about the business, but not about the man behind the business. So for me to get into this was really a tough time for me. I was going through a really tough, rough times. So Tshepo is, I grew up with a family, a father and a mother. I had my siblings, my younger brother who passed on a couple of years back, and my sister.
Okay.
From childhood, we grew up, we lived very well, everything was fine until my mother passed on in 1999.
Okay.
And that's when now my world took a turn. Things went upside down.
Yeah.
Because hardly, I think we buried her in January, but around June, when I came back from being with my friends, when I got home, I discovered that there was a family meeting. My aunts, uncles were there. And I just came in, greeted everybody. They said, okay, actually sit down because this meeting is about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So unfortunately, I was then told very sad news that actually I'm not a child. My surname is Mazibuko. I'm not a Mazibuko. And I was like, okay. Wow. I looked at my father and I was like, but what's that? And he looked down, and I was confused. I was trying to get over this. I was still mourning actually my mother's death, and they said, no, this is not your real father. And it was straightforward, harsh. There was no time to think or what to say. The person that you came with here actually is, you saw where we buried her. So basically, that was my last day at home, because I had to take. I left my home with a sports bag.
Sure.
Went back to my grandmother and say, hey, I've just got this shocking news. And my grandmother said, yeah, it's true. But your stepfather actually took you while you were young, and he said you are his child. We should never tell you this. And I said, yeah, but today things have turned. So that made me to be very angry. It made me to look at. I even hated my mom, to say, how can she leave me in a world like this? You know. And I got into alcohol. I got into drugs. I hated life. I didn't enjoy anything. There was no hope. When I looked at, I didn't see myself becoming anything. Like you even have the thoughts of just taking your life, but I didn't have courage for that. So I lived like that for about 6 years. I was living with friends. I didn't want family. And funny enough, with friends, I was always laughing. I was the loudest one. Even yesterday, one of my friends sent me a picture back in 2006, and I was standing with a beer in my hand. I'll share this with you. And they were sitting down.
This is off the record?
No, just, and the message that he wrote there, he said, God actually exchanged a bottle of beer with a mic.
Yeah.
And
wow.
That's powerful.
salute you. So Yeah, so I lived like that, trying to find myself. Where am I going? What is happening? Like I said, I was the life of the party, as they say, but inside I was dead. Inside I was bleeding. I was empty.
And what age were you at this time?
Oh, I was because my mother died when I was 19.
Okay.
And
so it was in your later years of your life.
Yeah. So it really, it disturbed me a lot because I lost track, I lost focus, and I just was breathing. I was just breathing.
So when you left school, were you did you go and study? Were you did you have something behind your name when you had this rock bottom moment in your life?
Look, I was doing my matric.
Okay.
At
time
and that when my mother passed on.
Okay.
And unfortunately I couldn't finish, because of passing, it disturbed me. But I tried to say, okay, but I can't just sit and be, even though life is not good. So I went to do a course at Boston Business College.
Okay.
So I just did a data capture diploma.
Okay.
I did well, even though it was tough. I mean, I remember I would go there with tears, because every day I was trying to figure out where's my life going. I don't have a home, and I'm doing this, just trying to, to put life together. And fortunately I got my diploma, but still, that's when now the 4 years unemployment started, because now I was sending my CVs
nothing.
I'll go to interviews, but it's okay, we'll call you back. I remember I came here in Alberton, here in Fort Dekker Street.
Yeah.
I wore my tie and I didn't even have, decent clothes, but, trying to be formal. And when I got into Bradlow's, I think it was Bradlow's, to hand in my CV, everybody ran upstairs and they came back. And I remember the manager came and said, they said, you looking for me? I said, yeah, no, I'm here. I'm looking for a job. He said, no, you must be joking. I said, no, I'm not joking. He said, no, they said somebody from head office is here. No, I actually shed a tear there because it was like they were mocking me. Because this was a serious situation for me.
Yeah.
But obviously they were seeing what I was not seeing. So he said, no, even when I came down, when I looked at you, I really believe that you are from head office. I said, no, I'm not from head office. I'm looking for a job. He said, well, leave your CV and then we'll call you. And so that's what things that I had to deal with, trying to get my life together.
So you were in quite a rough stage of your life. Obviously, if I can call it, I like to use the term rock bottom, because I think that's something that you were hitting. And you rock bottom, you can't find a job. What made you become a waste picker? And I also, is it a waste picker or is it a, because there's lots of terminologies, like a trolley guy, like
internationally.
What do you actually call them in South Africa?
Yeah.
It's amazing because even like your universities, these professors are fighting for that name. We can't call them waste pickers.
Really?
They've come up with a reclaimer. Others are like trolley pullers. So there's
multiple names.
Yeah, there's that.
So in other words, everybody's trying to find a political correct term to use, so that it's not offensive.
Exactly. And I think whichever way you look at it, because what you see a person pulling a trolley.
Yeah, you are picking up waste. So
you see a person
call it what it is.
It's a waste picker.
I mean, I've heard lots of names for the guys. I mean, some of them, they go down hills at speeds. At real speed. So these like these waste skaters, like they get on a trolley and they skate down the hill. I mean, it's unbelievable what those guys can actually do.
I mean, for me, the name is not that important. As long as there's more awareness.
What would you call it then?
Well, I call it
a waste picker.
It's a waste picker.
Okay.
For me, it's a waste picker.
Well, then we'll use waste picker because I think that's really good. So you hit rock bottom. You've got nowhere to go in your life. What came about you saying, let me go and pick up rubbish? I mean, it's a really unethical thing to do. It's not a real. If you actually think of people going into rubbish, it's not a great thing to think about.
Ask my wife about that.
So actually, were you married at the time?
No.
You weren't married?
No. When I started, I was married.
So
actually, if maybe I can take it a bit
further back, okay.
Firstly, I lived the life that I live. I was like into alcohol. I was into doing all the wrong. Not that I liked even alcohol. I didn't even have a favorite drink to say I like. I would drink anything just to get me high to try and forget about, because my mind, I remember there were days that I couldn't sleep, and I started having sort of like, I don't know whether I had migraine or not, but I would sit the whole night until morning because I was trying to think to say, but where am I going? Then it happened that I met my wife. When we met, we were like, no, because she was already in church, a church girl, and church was not my thing. So I met my wife, who back then, and I think she could see, because my friend couldn't see. They saw a happy guy.
Yeah.
They knew my story, but they just saw a guy who was cool with it. We together, and they were there. They were there for me, but just to sort of like keep me happy with alcohol and all that.
Yeah.
But you were processing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, and whenever I try to open up to a friend, he's like, I'm not your parent.
Yeah.
They'll tell me straight. That's how cruel friends will become sometimes.
Behind the facade, they didn't realize there's an actual story there.
And which is what my wife saw.
Yeah.
My wife would see that. But I didn't want people to get to that point. I didn't want anybody to ask me about family.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about it. And she took a chance and said, but dude, the life that you're living is not. I said, hey, they warned me about this church girl. You see, now she's going where she's not supposed to go. And I said, no, you know what, look, don't worry about that, I'm okay. And she said, no, maybe God. I said, hey, keep your God, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. And she left it like that. And I started telling my guys to say, hey, this new girlfriend, because I, mischievous, but I never really had love. I never had love. It was just me and the guys, just doing it for the guys to say, okay, we chilling with girls and all that. But I didn't. Whenever I looked at because I was empty. But there was a point where, I got so sick. Because where I was staying, actually, I was a security for my friend at his flat in Jamestown. There was no furniture. There was just a fridge, a couch, and a bed. So the fridge was for alcohol. So that's where whenever they wanted to come and chill, they would come there. And they would wake me up anytime they wanted, because it was not my place.
Yeah.
All they would do is to give me alcohol to say, okay, and then there'll be sound, there'll be dancing. So I was not in control of my space, of my life. So one day I was very sick. I woke up, I think we had drank a lot on that, for that weekend. I woke up Monday, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't call anyone. And I couldn't even move from the bed. And in my mind, that's when I realized to say, I'm alone in this world. I'm alone. I can't call anybody to say I'm sick. And the whole day, that really made me to think. I didn't know how to pray. But that day I went to the bathroom, I looked into the mirror and I spoke. I just spoke. I said, God, I don't know you. But I don't believe at the same time that you gave me this life for it to be like this.
Wow.
And I think that was my prayer. And immediately after, I remember this girlfriend of mine who told me about church. And she said, because one thing I had a problem with church. Remember, I didn't want anybody to know about my family.
Yeah.
And so, when growing up, we had these small churches in the township. I remember even my grandfather, he had his small church. Yeah. And in those churches, you'd stand up, have to introduce yourself. Who are you? So at that time, I said, I wanted to go to church, but I said, I don't want to go to a place where they'll ask you, who are you? Where do you come from? That's the only church I knew in my life, those small churches. Yeah. Going to church is a problem, but
So you met your girlfriend?
Yeah.
So now in this moment, did you give her a call?
Yeah.
Did you phone her and say, listen?
Exactly. I'm getting there.
Is it?
Yeah. I was sitting and then I had a meeting with myself, and it was a war actually, to say, if you go there, they're going to ask you a lot of questions. But I was considering to say, I just felt like I need to go somewhere and pray.
Yeah.
I just need to go and pray, even though I didn't know. But I had that strong feeling to say, and I remembered my girlfriend. I said, okay, let me call, because she invited me, So now I was planning to say, I need to do it this smart. If I tell her that I want to go, at least when they ask me, then I'll say, tell them who I am. At least somebody will tell them. So I gave her a call that day. It was in the evening to say, look, I just want to go and pray. She said, I said, I don't know. Wherever there's a church, I want to go and pray.
Yeah.
I said, that's a good thing. But she was afraid. She couldn't believe it because, I didn't like church.
So wait, in this moment, did you go and did you have to tell your story? Or did you go to church and just...
funny enough, in the church, there were thousands of people sitting there.
So it was a big church and you could just stand back.
Yeah, there was there and I was like hiding within, I was nicely yelling that no one would,
Yeah.
But I went out of that place with mixed emotions. Because
did something change?
Yeah, no, because the preaching that day was like, did she tell this
This guy
This
that
guy
I was
of my
coming.
life.
So God spoke to
And she
you.
was sitting, and then because the only thing I remember is that God can change your life. If you surrender, if you give him a chance, can change your life, and that was it for me. And because as I was sitting there, I was like, but I've got nothing to lose. I have nothing anyway. If God fails, then that's a confirmation for me to say my life is done.
Yeah.
But I was worried. The devil works in his ways. I was looking at my wife. I said, but I don't trust. How does this guy know? Because he was talking about things that nobody knew, but he was talking about what was happening inside of me. And when we went out, I told my wife, I said, she was my girlfriend back then. I said, but why did you tell this guy about my life? And she said, but when did I come here? Well, I don't even know the pastor was standing there. I was like, no, there's no way this guy could. But it was a mixture of happiness and, suspicion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was happy that somebody saw within me because I was around these people. Nobody saw that.
Yeah.
I was with friends and no, they couldn't. Nobody would actually touch that part of my life. So, yeah, that's how it started. And then I had to now work with me.
So you realized something needed to change.
I won't even forget. It was back 2006. From that day, I never stopped going to church. Even my wife now, she was not sure if she says, no, you shouldn't go so much. I said, no, you don't know what I'm going through.
So did you get more involved? Now, obviously, you've got no job. Your life is in a mess.
Yeah.
Did you start going to church after that?
Yeah, no. I immediately after the me being, going to church, I kept on going. Yeah, okay, the teachings, the preachings, I started practicing. I started losing friends now because they said, no, what are you doing? I said, no, but guys, I'm going to church. I said, no. You see this new girlfriend. That was the first thing that because I started now focusing on my life, to say, I need to practice what I'm taught there. I need to live the bad stuff that I'm doing. And remember, I'm not staying in my place. My life is not in my hands, actually. I'm in the mercy of other people. But when I started doing that, the people that seemed like they were caring, once were actually turned against me to say, no, now you're going about it the wrong way.
And did you get kicked out of that place?
I was. Yeah. I got kicked out because now they didn't allow the guys to even come and chill in the place. I remember because my girlfriend would come, she was driving a car, and then I used to wash her car, and I found a Bible. It was very old. It was like I took because I didn't even have the Bible. I couldn't read the Bible. I would have a headache reading the Bible. And my friends would find me reading the Bible and said, no, this is not the guy that we see.
The girlfriend poisoned you.
Yeah, no, they didn't like her. They didn't like her. But I had to, because I thank God for for the teachings. I was going to church and say, keep going, keep reading, keep praying. And yeah, even the security guard would complain because sometimes he'd find me standing outside praying. I'll be sitting alone. And you tell my guys to say, hey, this guy has lost it. Yeah. We found your guy. Because I was now fighting for my life because I knew that the war was inside me. I was tired of this emptiness, this void that was in me. And yeah, well, God did, his wonders as he works. I started. So for me, recycling started with me. My life had to be recycled.
So Tshepo, you got hit rock bottom. You went to church, had this experience where God spoke into your life, and you still couldn't find a job.
Yes.
So you decided, now I'm gonna be a waste picker.
Well,
or what made you? I want to hear that because that to me is like you're going to church. I mean, our God is awesome.
Yeah.
People have this thing. No, if I go to church, my life can only
get better,
be better right away.
Yeah.
It's not a case of like I'm gonna struggle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because for me it got worse.
Yeah. So for all the things you could think of, you went there. Yeah. That's what we want to know.
The first thing, like I said, I lost the place. I didn't have a place to stay in.
Yeah.
Because my friend came and said, hey, I need my place back.
But weren't you in your mind thinking, but I've got this, there's this God they're talking about.
Yeah.
And now it get worse.
Look, I went back. 3 months in the church, I went back to my pastor. Actually, he was a student pastor. Because there's a lot of people in my church. And I went there and I said, okay, when I learned that you could go to it, because I didn't even know. I was just going there, And then when they said, no, if you want to talk, you can come and talk to us. And I remember that day because I was sitting, I said, since I joined this church, this God thing, my life is getting worse. And in my mind, I said, no, I have to leave this thing. My friends were turning against me because even the owner of the place, my friend, he said, you have to leave because of this thing. So I said, but God is amazing, as you said, because in my mind I said, okay, even though I'm leaving, let me go and just tell them that I'm leaving. And mind you, they don't know me, because like I said, in the church there's a whole lot of people. And I was sitting there in the service. In my mind, I was not even listening to the preaching. I just wanted to say, after the service, I'm going to a pastor to say, don't be maybe surprised if you don't see me here anymore. And yeah, I did. I went after the service, and he was standing. I said, my name is Tshepo, and I'm here just to let you know that since I've joined the church, my life has gotten from west to west, I'm losing the place. Even my family, my family knew that I was struggling. But when they heard that I was going to church, they now try to come closer to me, say, no, you know how we do it, now you're joining this church thing, things will be fine. I said, no, but you're not understanding. I'm fighting my battle. You don't know what's happening. So the pastor said, okay, no, that's good. I mean, no one is forced to be here. And then he wanted to know how was my life before I came to church. And I opened up to say, no, this is the life I lived, this, with alcohol and this and this and that and that. And he said something that really, it made me angry, but I understood later, because he said, actually, you were an agent of the devil. Hey, I thought of like punching the guy. And I even doubted the place to say, is this a real church? Is he an agent of the devil? He said, oh, because now you were doing things for him. You were fighting, you were drinking, you were his guy. And now you want to leave him. He's not going to allow you just to say, bye, Tshepo. It was nice knowing you. He's going to fight for you. He's fighting for you.
Yeah.
Hey, that made me angry, but it made me to think. He said, no, he's fighting for you. He wants you back. But God has promised that he will change your life. So it's up to you. If you say you want, it's fine. But you must know that God can really fight for you as he promised. Amen. And that made me to think. So, okay, number one, I don't even know how this devil, operates. But if God says he's there, then I know I'm not alone. And I said, Pastor, what do I do? He said, continue doing what you do. It means in the word, pray, God is with you. And I started being serious. Because now I was saying, I have an enemy to defeat. So it took the focus away from the lifestyle to more about defeating, to say, I'm not going to do these wrong things anymore. I refuse to be this agent. I fought about being against being an agent. So then I continued, and now I started engaging myself in the church. Like now I've got this access to my pastors to talk to them. And I remember when I was sitting there, the preaching was like, but maybe you're looking for, he was not talking to me directly again, he was preaching. He said, maybe you're looking for a job, but you are the one who's actually supposed to be creating jobs. That flew over my head as I know he's talking to the I'm looking for a job. And I just want a job. As I was struggling, because I started selling some ties, small things, but I became involved in saying, you know what, let me, instead of just sitting and thinking too much and complaining, let me just give a hand and be busy, help out in the church. And I joined the help center. My manager was a pastor as well. He was from Brazil. We used to meet every month to do the monthly planning of the help center. And we're standing there in his office in Joburg in CBD. So it was on the second floor. So we're looking and on the window thinking, we're just chatting. I don't know what we were chatting about. And we saw the waste pickers pulling trolleys. In Joburg, you see them in line. And he said to me, there's parts of Brazil that are clean because of these guys. And I said, but what does it have to do with me? And immediately in my mind, I said, but he's mocking me. He knows my situation and he shows me this guy. And I looked at him, he said, what? I said, but no, you can't do this to me. He said, what did I do? I said, but I opened up to you, told my situation, and you showed me. I know I'm looking for a job, a work, but I can't find employment. But you can't, show me these guys. A little did I know that was a seed. Because when I got into a taxi, coming back, I now started to notice these guys. I saw waste pickers everywhere, even in the township, because they were there, but I didn't notice them. And this bothered me to say, but these guys, they're everywhere. And that's when I actually went to approach one of them to say, what do you do with these things? And the guy answered me so simply. He said, no, we just pick up rubbish and we go sell. And I was confused. He said there was rubbish everywhere. And here I am unemployed. There's rubbish everywhere. But at the same time, I said, but why is everybody not doing it? So that's where the interest started. That's where now I wanted to find out what was happening. And then I wanted to get more information from them to say, but when you sell to who? And what do they do with it? I didn't know anything. So he said, no, there's companies that we sell to, and then we just get paid. And I came back. Now, the hardest part was to sell it to my wife.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you.
Yeah, to say, I met these guys.
I
this
found
is
a
what
job.
they do.
Guess
She's
what?
like, no way. She was like, no.
So at the time, was your wife employed? Did she have a qualification?
She's still with ESCOM.
What was her qualification at the time?
She was a quality assurer at ESCOM.
Okay.
Yeah, mom, no,
but
my
had
mom,
she studied?
Yeah, my wife, she's a graduate. She went.
So
to
she had a degree.
Yes.
At the time of
even
you telling her.
Today, even now, I left her. She's busy with the MBA. She's one person who's really she's fond of books and all that.
Yeah. So you come home and you tell your wife,
the idea.
I'm thinking I need to become a waste picker.
She said, I'd rather take care of them. Don't worry. I'd rather take care of the family. There's no way you're going to do that thing. What will my parents say? Even myself, to say I married a guy who's now on the streets. Because remember, all of us, when we think of a waste picker, we just think of a poor person, a dirty person and all that. But for me, it was a calling, because like I said, even myself, I didn't understand. It's like talking about something, but you are not into it as well. But something pushes you to say, I have to do this thing. So, I said, no, but I have to do this thing. And I went back to the pastor, say, these people, they say they do want to. They said, it's recycling. I said, I didn't know about it. So I'm thinking about it. It's up to you. I think he was even now, he didn't want to talk about it because he saw how angry I became. So, but it was bothering me. At night, I couldn't. It was something that I was thinking about to say, I need to get into this, even though I don't know. And then I went back to the guys to say, how do you do this? They said, no, you just need a bag and a trolley. Okay, then if I get there, they said, no, you just go and pick up waste. I said, how? Then they started teaching me. So, this is how it works. Different times, different days. Your rubbish bins comes out. You have to go there and, fill up your trolley and you go and sell. Where do you sell? Then there was a company here in Al Road called Hossaf. They said, Hossaf. And I took a taxi. I went to Al Road. I went to that company. So what happens? And the funny part is everybody answers you as if it's a simple thing. Even at Hossaf, they said, no, you just pick up plastics and you come and sell, we pay you. I said, but how? They said, go ask the guys outside. So I went to ask the guys. The guys said, here they buy plastic. But they didn't even tell me what kind of plastic, how you separate. So, I organized the trolley from the guys. They sold it to me for $150 and a bag. And there I was,
So you bought a trolley from one of these guys?
Yeah.
You bought a trolley and a bag, and you're like, I'm going to try this.
I'm going to try this. But I think what gave me courage, it's the preachings to say God is with you.
Yeah.
So that's what you held on to.
Just go for it. And for me, it was now, I
So you get your trolley, you get your bag, you start going. How were you feeling?
It was scary. It was crazy. It was unbelievable. And the worst part is that I started...
Were you embarrassed?
Very, very, very. It was bad. It was the worst time of my life.
Were you going in your community? Because obviously the community know you.
I started where I grew up.
Didn't you think to maybe go somewhere further?
I did. But remember now, I'm following this because you follow a calendar, your municipal calendar, to say, on this day it goes. And when I checked, the first day that I wanted to start, it actually starts where I grew up. And I was ready. Remember now myself, I've mentally prepared myself that I'm going out. And when I checked the calendar, it's where I grew up.
In that moment, surely you did not feel like God was with you. You're busy picking up rubbish.
When I think when the word believe, it's very powerful if you take it. Because I believed.
Okay.
Somehow I believed.
So even though you were feeling like terrible, you believed.
I believed because I'm one person that when I'm in the church, I listen. I don't even want to be disturbed, to say, okay. And then I go back and I try to think about this. So that's how I took the word of God literally. Like, if I make an example, there was a time, because, in the church we have movements and all that, right? And the pastor said, next week, this church this church will be elevated. I said, elevated? He said, this church is gonna go high, it's gonna go up. He was preaching about something, but I remember elevation. And in my mind, because I was still new in the church, I said, this church is gonna go up. I literally believe that this church is gonna go up. And I said, my God, when it goes up, I want to go up with it.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed because on Sunday he made a very short prayer. to say, Lord, exalt the lives of your people and all. And I was sitting there, I said, but this guy, last week he said, he got us pumped up to say, the church is going to, and it's just finished, and that was it. But after years, I believe that this is actually spiritually speaking, to say our lives will go up. You know? So that's how much I believe. So there were all those challenges. I faced a lot of challenges. And one of my friends found me in the dustbin. I didn't know that he is a friend that I used to go to school with.
Yeah.
And when he walked out, it was in Straight View. He saw me and said, Tshepo, and lifted my head. He said, is that you? I said, yeah. He said, oh man, are you fine? I said, no, I'm okay. He said,
so you're picking up the rubbish, and you've obviously got no experience. You're just picking up rubbish.
Yeah.
You go out your first day. Tell me, how did that go? Was it like did you feel anything? Was it just like, I'm going to do this? Every single bin, I'm just going to go in, take rubbish out, put it there.
Yeah. For me, as you said in the beginning, that I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
I think I hit it many times. That was another stage of my life where I was at the bottom. It was no longer now about the outside, but you have a wife. You now have started a family. That was another stage of my life where I was challenged to say, I was trying now to fight with that. So I'll try, for me, I was trying to do whatever it takes to get out of this situation.
So you take your rubbish to the suppliers?
Yeah, and the first time, the first bag, I won't forget. Because when I went there, I was ready. Because what happens is that you stand in a line, because recycling is a weight-based business. So you have to weigh. You get paid per weight and product. So for me, my bag was full. And then when it was my turn to weigh, they check your bag and they said, no, this is rubbish. I said, but what do you mean it's rubbish? Because I picked up rubbish. And they said, no. And the guy was very rude. He said, no, go back. Ask those guys outside there how this thing is done. And that's when I learned that there are different kinds of plastics. And most of the plastic I had, because I took your carry bags, I had your clear plastics with bottles. That company was only buying bottles.
So you collected so much.
I came back with 50 rands to my wife because I went out very excited to say, okay, I'm going to start this thing. And I came back with 50 bucks and with a trolley that was half full of plastics. And she looked at me and I was very smelly, dirty, because you get dirty. So yeah, she was very disappointed. But today when she speaks to me, she said, but on that day, I saw a spark in your eye. Because like I said, it was always a fight of, I don't know, because, as you're asking questions, was I not maybe embarrassed or, I had those feelings, but at the same time, there was that excitement. Firstly, it was because I was doing something with my life now. Instead of just waiting for phone calls or emails to be answered, but I was out there now doing it for myself. That got me excited. With all the 50 rands and the challenges I faced on the day, I came back and my wife picked that up. I didn't see it. And she said, on that day, I was very angry, but I saw you, like in your eyes, you were alive, And I said, I did it. I said, no. She said, no, I saw it. I saw that, it's amazing that you are doing this thing that I don't understand. You are dirty, and here you come with but that was the beginning of all the excitement.
Can I ask you, what was something that was like the most interesting you've found in a bin? Is there something that you found that's like...
Yeah, it's hectic.
Okay, so we don't go there.
Yeah, which is something that even today, because now what I do, I give for students at universities. I'm invited by the universities. I sit with professors because they also want to now find out to say what is it like on the ground.
Yeah.
And one thing that I fight for, which they don't like, but I always say it's not good for people to go into those rubbish bins because of what we find there,
Okay.
There's quite a lot.
So you can't really go into it. Okay.
Like needles, maybe to mention a few, there's a lot of nasty stuff.
Okay.
But you go past it because you're looking for your money. Yes,
so
I said
you just actually look past
for us, it's not a plastic. It's a resource. It's something that I'm gonna get money for. So we go through, and I always say I learned business on the streets. That's when I learned business, even though I didn't know it was business.
Yeah. Because
there's packaging there. Remember this bag, you have to try and get as much as you can in that bag. That's why you see a lot of waste pickers, they have to squash the material so that you can load more. That's like your packaging. You've got competition.
Yeah.
You're running against time. You're running against the municipal truck. Because if it comes before you get there, you lose material.
Yeah.
You know, so there's quite a lot, and you have to plan your day to say, okay, I cannot take everything. I cannot take cardboard, paper, plastics, and I have to decide which one I take.
Yeah.
Most of the waste pickers, they like plastic because it pays more. Then you have to decide at what time am I going to sell. You know, do I go to sell today? And sometimes you go against the weather. You know, it's raining. You have to wake up very early in the morning before people wake up, so that when they take out their trash, you are there first. Because if you wake up around 6, you are late. You won't get anything. You know, the waste picker who wakes up is like birds. You know, the first, the earliest birds.
Catches the
worm.
worm,
It's the same thing. So there's quite a lot you learn there. And you fight for turfs. Like, this is my street. No, but you know, and it's a very informal space. There's no laws. Everybody's for himself.
Sure.
So it's a very hectic space. But yeah, there was a lot that was learned there.
And so you now, how long were you picking up waste, and for how long were you doing this?
Yeah, for full 3 years, from 2009 to 2011.
Did your family ever disown you for it?
Oh, they did.
What made you decide to now go to the next step?
Yeah,
elevate yourself.
Yeah, for me, actually, it was not even about waste, or it was not about what I was doing.
Okay.
It was about the word that I believed.
Yes.
You know, for me, I wanted to see God in that, because I believed that if I send my CVs, I pray, I do it, but nothing was happening there.
Yes.
And this to me said, but I'm always told about this great God, you know. And here we are taught that if you persevere, you believe, you trust. And I said, I've been doing that, but I need to see Him here.
Yeah.
This is not about me anymore. So whenever those things happened, for me, it was not even about, that's why it didn't bother me that much what people were saying, my family. But I told myself that the one that I want to see is this God that I now believe in. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's what kept me going, you know, to say. And little by little, I mean, it took 3 years. And the reason it took 3 years is that in 2011, that's when I started now to question, but what do they do with this waste?
Okay.
Okay, now I understand how it works. I make a bit of money. I remember for 3 years, I never made even more than 1,000 rand. Never. And this was frustrating my wife to say, but where are we going with this? I said, I don't know. But I have to keep going. I just, you know, because like I said, there was that excitement, there was that passion that was building up.
Yeah.
But I didn't know where it was taking me. So only in 2011, I had that question to say, what do they do? Because I would just go and sell and go back.
Yeah.
So, okay, the owners, I remember now I was selling in Chinese. A lot of clients, because I was knowing now where to take what to whom.
Okay.
And I started now asking them, what do you do with this waste? Then they called me, they showed me now their processing plant. And I didn't understand. They showed me plastic pellets. What do they do? You know? They said, no, they're molding. I don't even know what molding is. They were talking about. I was totally in the dark. But I saw these machines as I'd love to do this one day. I told this Chinese guy, and he said, yeah, no, but it's challenging. I said, no, it's fine. Idea came in 2011 to say, but I've been walking this path with these guys to Al Road. Why can't I become a transporter? You know, and I guess now I don't have a bank account where I'm banking this money. It's not a business. So guess where do I have to go? My wife. She's the one who's got a record, you know. And now I come to sell the idea again to say, look, I think we need to buy a second-hand buggy. She was like, with what? I said, you know, maybe. She said, no ways. No ways.
With whose money?
Yeah. I said, no, if you can, this thing is going to work. I said, how? I said, I don't know, but it's going to work. Yeah. So we bought a second-hand buggy. But before that, you know, this project, like as I always tell people, it's beyond me. This is God's project. I became a transporter. But now I was no longer picking the guys, because I sold the ideas to other waste pickers to say, look, how about I organize a transport and then I go sell for you guys and you pay me for that. They said, brilliant idea. We support it. So now I would wait for them to fill up their bags, but I could only take the traffic cops they use. And EMPD knows me very well. We used to fight a lot because the bag, you know, the
so your buggy basically got so full.
Yeah. There were times that they took my disc on the window. So no, you're crazy. So I did that, but then the mindset, but again, I've hit the ceiling. You know, I can only take about, if I'm forcing it, 6 bags. It was a small buggy. Then I decided to say, but if I can find a place of my own, you know, where I can store this material. Once maybe I've got enough, then the whole day I can do my trips.
Yes.
But I didn't have a place. And guess who has a place? My stepdad. So I said, no, I'm doing this thing. I've started this thing. Said, yeah, but you see, I know how dirty this business of yours is. But I said, yeah, no, I just want to put my bags on the corner there.
Yeah.
And then once they are full, then I'll just go and sell.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, let's try. But hey, and it became a problem because as the time went, I took half of the yard. I fight all the time, you know.
Is it?
And yeah, but one thing that people actually now started to like as well was that I went back to my dad, you know, after all, because you know how news travel. They knew how I was chased out of the house. And they were like, this guy. And for me, it was truly forgiveness because my focus was no longer in the past. And I was looking at this thing now that I want
Going
to build,
ahead.
which I'm not sure of,
Yeah.
that I'm now got this thing that is keeping me busy. So yeah, I did started now being a buyback center, you know, whereby now I was buying from the community because the third idea was that instead of just collecting, let me become a buyer, right? And now remember, it's not a fully fledged business where I've got accounts and all that. Where do I go again? My wife. It's okay, the idea is growing.
Wow.
Now I'm thinking we buy from these people. She said, until today, I don't see any money coming from this thing. I said, it's fine, but it's going to come. But let's support the idea. She had to take another loan. And she was paying the loan from her salary. It was not even from the business, that business was making money. No. She was the one who was servicing the loan. And here I come to talk about another loan now to say, we want to buy. And she did, with tears in her eyes. She did. Because like I think it helps to be in faith together, you know, as a couple. It's very important because she believed in God. She trusted that God. She didn't know what was happening, but she had put everything in God's hands to say, Lord, you know what's happening. I don't know. And I started being a buyback center. You know? And 2011, they said, no, but this is a business. I mean, even how to register a business. I went to
And you
Pretoria
only
myself.
had a data reading.
That's it. I even
Data
forgot about the
capturing.
data capturing. That to me,
So
what
you
I
had no other business skill,
this
nothing
was
like that.
keeping me busy. So I went to Pretoria because they say CIPC was in Pretoria. Because of the preaching, to say sometimes you depend on people so much that you miss out the opportunity of what you can do. So I had a BlackBerry phone. That's where I did my research and how to register a company. You know, you need this. I went to Pretoria. Like for me, it was a testimony. I had my CK, you know. So I registered a business. It was it was an achievement.
It's such an inspirational story, not only for young people,
Yep.
but for a lot of people that are in the same boat as what you were in the beginning.
Yep.
What type of, I mean, even a waste picker, for example, let's say a waste picker goes and watches this. What kind of advice could you give a waste picker now?
Yeah.
What type of advice would you give a youngster that says, yes, you know what, I've got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Here's this inspirational story. What kind of encouragement or advice could you give for that person?
Yeah. You know, for me, the one thing that I always say is that I am my business. I've learned how to take care of me, you know, more than the business. Like I say, I think what God has done for me was to really reveal me to me. Because a lot of people, we try to deal with the outside, but without actually understanding who we are inside. Sometimes, like I said, we think that you need that. But for me, I was very blessed to say God revealed to me not only what I need, but who I am, what was in me.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say the first thing is to discover, is to try and to find who you are. Because all of us, we are in this world as a gift. I mean, life is a gift for me. You know, and there's no one who's got more or less than the other.
Yeah.
I believe that we are all given equally, and what we are given is faith. It's belief.
Amen.
You know, so yeah, I know I started by believing in God, but I think He challenged me to believe in me more. You know, and I always take it back to the story where Jesus meet Peter and them, where they were they were fishermen, but He said, "I will turn you into fishers of men."
Yeah.
So with me, like I said, he recycled my life. You know, for me it was a process where He was working into my life and really revealing what I'm made of. And today I know that it's not only me, but every human being. That's what we are given. I know the world is challenging with all of those things, but for me, it's more about revealing what God has already given. So every human being, I so always pray and wish that what I discover, they can actually discover.
Yeah.
To say we are precious. We are precious souls. So yeah, it's just to believe in themselves.
Sure.
Awesome.
And in terms of where you are now, obviously you've become a lot more successful. What is that next level that and I like that example where the church, where your pastor said you're going to elevate, and he was talking about the people in there, and you took that literally, and you elevated yourself just to the next level.
Yeah.
What is the next level for Tshepo Mazibuko?
Well, for me, remember I started as a we are called soul winners in the church. And that's one thing that I never left. I still am. So for me, what I've learned with the journey that I've traveled is that it's all about the people. It's all about what I'm giving. How do I give it to others? If you teach the people, that's when you will actually start to see things changing, and especially the little ones.
Where can they find you? Where can they find K1, or where can they find more information? Say someone says, I'm watching this, yes, I'd like to get involved. Like to get involved with the foundation. Where can they find more information about you?
Well, currently we are on the social media space.
Okay, cool.
We've got our Facebook page.
What's it called, your Facebook
K1
page?
K1 Recycling Waste Management.
Okay, cool.
We are on Facebook.
I'm sure you've enjoyed this, and what a privilege and an honor it is to have you, Tshepo,
Thank you.
and to hear the story of how God brought you to the stage you are now, and where He's taking you. I think that's the most important thing to remember.
Amazing thing that I picked up: each one, reach one, teach one. That's his also mission.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. Well, thank you, Tshepo, for being on the show.
Yeah.
And it's been really great to have you hear your story. For you at home, share it with your friends, share it with somebody that needs to hear this, because I believe that there are lots of people that need to hear Tshepo's story. And I want to encourage you to actually get it out there, share it with one another. And we'll see you on the next episode of LWC Radio. Cheers, guys. Thanks, Tshepo. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Mac.
Thanks, Newton.
Thanks, team behind the cameras. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.